Welcome to Barbell Business. I'm Mike Bledsoe here with Doug Larson and Marcus Gursey. We have traveled to the great north, 2 hours north, to CrossFit Pendulum in Pasadena, California, to visit Drew Girton.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew is the owner here of this beautiful facility, and it's a really great town.
I love it.
It is, dude. It's super
home.
pretty here. Right
Love
outside,
coming
got
up
big
here.
mountains right there in the distance.
That's what qualifies it as the
beautiful.
Great North, right? You can see some mountains in California. You're like, I'm all the way up.
You got mountains and palm trees. Nice here.
Beautiful.
Or it's just the San Gabriel Valley.
Whatever.
Something like that.
Or that.
Details.
So I'm going to put you on the spot, Drew. What is it that people are going to learn today that is going to just blow their minds?
That if you are motivated and you have a passion in your belly, that you can achieve whatever you want.
Yeah, going off that, we were going to breakfast this morning, and you were talking about, was it, our brains are obese, or
Yeah.
or was it intellectual obesity?
But we are.
Our brains are obese.
Our brains are obese.
Not mine. My brain is starving.
My brain is obese. Yeah, that was a good point, though. I like the term. So what does that mean? What does that mean to have an obese brain, or whatever you call it?
Was it intellectual obesity?
We're mentally obese.
Mentally
Mentally
obese.
We're
obese.
mentally obese because as people, what I think has happened to us is that we consume all this information and we just keep learning and learning and learning, but then there's never any practical application. We don't see it at all. I mean, and some people are like, well, I wanna go get this. I want a house. I want this car. I want to be able to have these nice things. But then they won't put in the work to go get it. They won't make it happen.
What do you think sets you apart? You obviously have been exposed to certain information and you've implemented it. Why do you think that you were, or was there a time where you were not implementing? You were learning and you were becoming mentally obese, and then you shed that fat, or were you always a good implementer once you learned something?
So I found out when I was in grad school that I took, let's see, what test was that? Strength Finders test. That I'm an activator. And that's something that once I learned about what that is, I said, yes, that is 100% who I am. I'm great at starting things, and if you ask my wife, I am awful at finishing things.
Mm-hmm.
So, meaning I will start something in the kitchen and then leave a cupboard open.
Wow. Maybe your wife should hang out with my wife.
Well, a lot of people learn that about themselves, and then they actually get down on themselves like, God, like I need to fix that. I need to learn how to finish things. I need to be what I'm not, which I don't think is the right way to go, especially in business. In business, it's great because you can just partner with somebody or hire somebody or whatever to kind of fill in your gaps, and then you can stay just being you. You can be the activator, the person that's the quick start. You get projects off the ground. You get things started quickly. Like you're very proactive, and then you can have someone else that you're partnered with or that works with you that can help drive those projects to completion, and then it's a very good pair.
Absolutely, and that's what my wife is actually great at finishing those things, and so she is actually one of our co-owners, and she helps me tie those things up so that there isn't things that are just left outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also hired other staff members here to actually help with that, and it's really been a huge difference maker because it allows me to do what I do best. Is getting things started.
Yeah.
When you found out you were an activator, what changed in your mind? What happened that allowed you, that I guess maybe gave you hope or motivation?
It just gave me the freedom to actually pursue the things that I wanted to do and to run after it with 100% enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
How long ago was that?
Probably 4 years ago. Dating back to 2011, my wife and I, we were just newlyweds, and I told her in November of that year that I wanted to open a CrossFit gym. And she goes, okay, let's go after it. Fast forward a couple months later, we end up getting pregnant. We freaked out, said, no, let's put this on hold. So we did. We put it on hold, and then she told me, she goes, I don't want to ever bring this up again. I said, well, we'll see. Fast forward 2 more years. Our daughter is like 6-7 months at that time. And I said, I'm dying on the inside. I had been trying to find a different job, new things. I was applying for things, seeing if I should go back to school again to get another degree. And
That's usually the answer.
In this case,
You
it was
don't-
not.
if you want to be mentally obese,
I don't-
it
I
is
don't-
the
I
answer.
don't-
Absolutely.
I don't know
It's
what
like-
to do. I'll just go get another degree.
Yeah, just learning more to learn more because you don't know what to do. I feel like a lot of people do that. Back to that original term of being mentally obese. A lot of people like their answer is always just like, I don't know enough. I need to learn. I need to learn. I need to learn. Instead of, as you said, like being proactive and like being an activator and like actually starting stuff. A friend of ours, Evan Pagan, he always says that speed of implementation is one of the most important things that an entrepreneur needs to be able to do. Like you learn something and you put it into practice right away instead of like marinating on it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're just kind of naturally like that.
It is, and it's something that I've done ever since being a kid. I really enjoy starting things up and getting things fired up. So, but anyway, back to 2013. We were talking about different things, and because ultimately what drives me is I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to be able to put a roof over their head. I want to be able to give them the life that I want to give them. I want them to be able to enjoy that, and that's what we ended up coming out with is CrossFit Pendulum. I said, I know you told me not to bring this up again, but I kind of want to open up a CrossFit gym. And she goes, okay. Because she was tired of me trying to search and pull for things, and this is ultimately what I wanted to do. I've been a strength and conditioning coach since 2001. I've been in fitness for a long time. So I was tired of working for other people. I wanted to do it our way, and she gave us, the autonomy to say go and run and do that, and this is what you see now.
Yeah,
this is fruits of that labor.
You had managed the gym before, right? Like
Yeah.
a more mainstream, like big box style gym.
Yeah. So I managed 24 fitness gyms. I was a fitness manager for them for 5 years, 5.5 years, and would go around to different clubs and raise them up and grand open new gyms and rebuild the ones that weren't doing well. And it was something that came very easy and naturally because being an activator, I would just go in there and get things started. But I didn't like staying there for very long.
Right. Yeah,
So-
that's a good
Makes
gig.
sense. Yeah.
It maximizes your strengths and then kind of keeps you away from your weaknesses.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what we did, and I was there for them. I learned a lot. Like some people, when it was time to leave, it was time to leave. And I knew that, and that's why this is now what it is. And so it's been a lot of fun to actually see it come to this. And before that, I was the strength and conditioning coach at Western Michigan University for 2 years. So I've had the elite, I've had the general public, and now I deal with CrossFitters.
So what's the same about opening a CrossFit gym that would be similar to when you were helping the 24-hour fitness gyms either get off the ground and or you'd come into existing facilities and help them do better? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so if you would look at like a personal training business where they were at. So I took over a gym that had, 2010 is when I went into this gym in Pasadena. And in 2009, they had done like $9,000 in personal training. And my first month there...
In the whole year?
No, just in 1 month.
Oh, a month. Gotcha.
So my first month there, we did 21,000 in my first month there. So year over prior, which is really important in business, is to see that growth. That was just sitting down and meeting with their trainers and getting to know them and actually helping them grow and cultivate their own business to help them make money. I mean, who doesn't want to make more money? And that's what we did for them is we taught them on how to be better trainers and better businessmen and women and to grow their own business. And so that did that, and it just kept growing. And the next thing you know it, for the first time in that entire year, they hit goal in December, which is very hard, as you guys know, to hit goal in December. So we did that, and from there, everything just happened.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and just in the last year, if I remember when we met in person in February last year, right, at the workshop we did in San
That's right.
Diego, you went away from that workshop and activated. Like, I mean, we cover a lot of ground when we do a workshop. It's a full weekend-long workshop. We go through a lot of different categories that you could spend 6 months in one category alone. And you, over the last year, have just gone and implemented in, I think, pretty much every single category. I think you said only one of the things you ended up tweaking or didn't stick quite how you wanted, but you got like a 90% in regards to like getting these things done, which is like 1,000% over what most people do when they take in that kind of volume of information and tools and tactics and all that. So what's your journey been over the last, I'd like to see actually longer, like kind of 24 months. But can you kind of walk us through your growth as like going from the big box, starting your gym, and then just kind of the evolution and that kind of hockey stick that seemed to have happened over the last year?
Yeah, so where we were at before I started working with you guys is that we were, we had a good website. My brother is a web designer, and he developed a nice website for us, but it was just an informational website. It wasn't necessarily a marketing website. And I was getting leads, but I didn't necessarily know when they came in or when they arrived and then how long that they had been there for. And I lost them, right? And so when I would contact them, be like, "Oh, that was like 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry about that." And so when I met you guys and started working with Barbell Logic, everything kind of changed because everything went through our sales process and the pipeline, and then I knew exactly where everybody was, and that ended up helping us streamline our back-end systems, which allowed for us to do what we do best in actually developing and training people. But back to last year, we were doing well as a business. We were still growing, but what ended up happening is that we were able to take everything that I learned from that weekend, put it right into practical application, and then just drive. And so that's what we did. And, everything was there, and so we just kept moving. And the one thing that we ended up adding 75 members last year, just from
Wow.
Yeah, dang.
so
Beautiful.
it's good.
And your average client value, I know, was a focus as well as in raising that across the board. Because when we had our first coaching call, it was, you knew it wasn't where it should be or
Right.
can be, and started working on that as well. So how did you approach that, and what really kind of happened and how you affected that number?
So what we did is we realized that we didn't have we had a month-to-month and a year-long contract, and then a paid in full. We ended up going to contracts in 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year, and then also a pay in full option. What that did is that allowed for us to actually know exactly where our business was going to be at and plan for that accordingly. But the other thing is that we increased our pricing in February. We went from $135 of an average client value, just from a membership standpoint, to $169 by the end of the year, which
awesome.
and we increased in members. So
Yeah, so you got 75 more members, and all of your members total are paying 25, 30% more, whatever that number ends up being.
right. So I mean, we were able to we brought on 2 new coaches. I was able to step back and just focus on running the business, which has been the right thing to do. And we're currently hiring more and bringing on more interns so that the business continue to keep on growing.
That's been awesome, man.
So how do you manage that growth? I mean, because growth it's a good problem to have, but it brings its own challenges. So how do you guys manage growing that quickly?
We had different systems. So I have my coaches all take individual people that come in and try out the free intro sessions. From those free intro sessions, then we move them into what is called Pendulum 101, which is our beginners classes. They come through the beginners class. Then after that, they're able to, once they graduate from those 6 classes, they move into our group classes. And then from there, we have different different tiers. So we have our scaled, intermediate, and our RX. Those allows for our members to actually continue to keep growing and seeing the results and the growth in their own process and their fitness to actually be able to get to where they want. Some people don't care about RX. Some people do. Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to gain muscle. But the thing is that when I sit down and I meet with my coaches, we know exactly where our members are at, and then we cater and we tailor to them.
What would you say your biggest takeaway? You went to the workshop. What was the thing you changed first that made the biggest difference?
I think it started with me. I think that before I can work on my staff or anything else in the business, it had to be within my own self. Self-awareness and seeing what I'm good at and what the business was, and being honest with that was really important. Because if you can't do that, then you're not going to be able to affect everything else. So it started with me first, and seeing where I may have had some holes and being honest with that, and then saying, maybe I can get a coach who actually is super motivated and inspired right now to coach these classes instead than me, because I've been doing it for so long. and it actually has been awesome. We brought in a guy. He started in June. He started out as an intern first. Then we brought him on, hired him in June. He replaced me at my times, and it's been great. And those are our busiest classes now.
So, from what I understand, a year ago you were coaching classes,
Yes.
and now you're not really committed to any classes at all, and all your time is spent in growing the business.
Correct. Yeah, I coach 1 day a week on Saturdays at 9 a.m. just to stay in the business. I think it's really important to stay in the dirt, at least somewhat.
Keep your hand in.
Yeah, so that I have at least one bit of understanding of knowing where things are at, so that I'm not just up looking in the cloud and going, oh, well, this makes sense if we do this. And then I still meet with my staff weekly. And so those are 30-minute to hour-long meetings that we sit down and we develop them, and we make sure that they're getting better as coaches, and I observe them and document their, what they do, and we help them get better. And then we also ask where our members are at and how we can help them, so that it's a full service that we offer to our coaches and our members.
I hear from coaches a lot of times. I start talking about business, and this usually happens to people who've been running a gym less than a year. They're like, "Oh, I never want to stop coaching anyway. I want to be in it all the time, so on and so forth." What do you tell that person?
I believe that if this is where you're at, eventually you're going to get to a spot to where you're going to want to step away. I mean, it's like you tell your story, right? And you tell your story of when you went on your vacation and you're like, I'm dying here.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
eventually you're going to hit that place. And you need to be a little bit more aware of that before that happens, because if that happens, that's also going to impact your members. They're going to feel that.
It can be too late.
Yes, 100%.
And I think when it hit me, we were one or two CrossFit gyms in town. And if my gym started suffering and the community and culture started suffering because I was completely burnt out, that was one of those things that we got away with in the early days that, especially if you're here in Pasadena, you might not get away with.
Mm-hmm.
There are 7 CrossFit gyms in Pasadena. 7.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a big area for 7 gyms.
My gym wasn't too far down the road, as you know, down in
Yeah.
Orange County, and it was the same thing. I mean, we had them literally everywhere. It was crazy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what you're talking about here is important, because a lot of people get into this business thinking, well, I love coaching, I love helping people, this is what I want to do all day with my life, screw sitting at a desk, and that is awesome. That should be a great driver to move and activate in starting the project and getting things off the ground. But long term, you can't leave yourself stuck, or you can, it's just going to suck, but you probably shouldn't leave yourself stuck as like one of the main people that the schedule is dependent on. You can cherry pick classes and keep your hand in, or if you want to be like, you know what, I'm really feeling the need to coach more and get back in there, then put yourself back on the schedule and do more, but it's because you can choose to do so, not because you built the entire business around you being the person stuck doing it, which once you're stuck and pain in that corner and you start getting tired, you don't realize what's going to hit you, and all of a sudden you hit a burnout. And it's not just you as the business owner and maybe the staff that struggles from it, but it's your members. They're now not going to get the service and the experience. You're not going to be as present. The quality overall goes down, and frankly, we don't really have that luxury anymore now that the marketplace is where it is.
Yeah, and even if you stay coaching for a long time and you're not burnt out and you think you're providing your members with the best service possible because like you're running the class the way that you want it to be run and the training is on point, the business experience might not be what it needs to be because no one else is stepping up to run your business for you in that case. Like you got to make a choice at some point. You can keep coaching classes forever, or you can step away, coach classes as much as you kind of feel like you need to once or twice a week, keep your finger on the pulse, keep the relationships strong with your members. That's totally cool, but no one else is going to step up unless you like hire a CEO or like a really good gym manager, which is a viable option. You definitely can do that, but you got to make a choice at some point. Like, which one do I want to put my focus on? Because if you just stay coaching forever, then the business is going to hit a ceiling pretty quick, really.
Go ahead.
I remember actually in the workshop, one of your favorite books, Doug, was that E-Myth. So
very good book.
When I left, it was one of the things that I wanted to read. I didn't read it, actually. I listened to it on audiobook.
But I wanted to.
Cheated.
That's the same thing.
Yeah, when I want to do something, it's like it happened.
Yeah.
So
and I tell people I did it.
Exactly.
Makes me look good.
So
Go ahead.
I actually read that, listened to it, and
Oh yeah, dude. Audiobooks just as good.
And he talks about being the technician, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the manager, and then there's the entrepreneur. I was a technician that tried to be the entrepreneur because I was trying to grow the business, but I was still operating classes.
You're trying to do it as a technician.
Yes.
Never going to happen.
100%.
Yeah. There's only so many of you.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you've been coaching since 2001.
Yeah.
That's a long time. What's it at the core? This will be a deep question. How does it?
Deep.
Yeah. That's why I use the word core.
I heard the word core, and I was like, "This is getting real."
He's going for it.
How does it feel now compared to a year ago when you were being a technician? How does it feel to be the owner and actually be growing the business and looking over the whole thing versus being in it?
It's exactly where I'm supposed to be. And it's exactly where I wanted to be 4 years ago. I just didn't know it. That was I was like, and I remember telling my wife even just 6 months ago, this is what I love doing. This is truly what I enjoy doing, because now it isn't just the one-on-one, the personal training clients that I still have. I still have a couple personal training clients. But it's also because what I'm able to do on a greater impact.
That's
like
it.
it's a larger scale. You guys understand that?
Yeah. That kind of reminds me of my early days. Doug can remember this. Is when I was running the gym, I didn't know that I wanted to be a business guy at any point. He probably remembers. I'm like, marketing's dumb. I'm not interested in the business side of things. I just want to coach. If I do a good job coaching, I'll get people in. And then, well, you heard my story. I'm sure people that listen to the show know that I suffered a little bit of burnout at one point. And through having a lot of frustration, started saying, okay, I'm going to have to study business. And then finding it's my favorite thing. Like, I really love it because you start seeing the level of impact you can have on everyone that you come in contact with.
Right.
Versus when you're the technician, when you're doing the coaching, you can have a really deep impact on some individuals, but hundreds, thousands of people, that's very satisfying.
Absolutely.
Because it goes from you and the client to you and the staff and many clients, and the reach, the impact overall. You just have more leverage being a better business owner. And I think that so many people, who are coaches first, like you were saying, you think you're not going to like it. You think that, the marketing, the sales, or any of these aspects of business, that might be a turnoff because maybe what we've been conditioned to think our whole life. But as a coach and wanting to help people make an impact, it's actually the better position. It's actually the stronger position, because it's you getting to do what you love so much, even on a one-to-one level, but like one to now many and thousands of people.
Yeah.
Because you as a staff, you as a team, are actually much stronger than just you by yourself. No matter how good you are as a coach, you're never going to have the impact as 5 or 10 amazing coaches that you can groom over time and build a business that just can now actually last longer than you. One person can only last going super hardcore as a trainer for so long and with only so much reach, where if you kind of take yourself back a notch and work on ratcheting yourself up, you realize, I think, when you find there as a coach, this is actually the best feeling of all. This is that feeling amplified.
Right. Yeah, and this is the difference between passion and purpose. And that I think everyone gets drawn into this because they have a passion for training, they have a passion for helping people. And if they look at their purpose, which I think a lot of people, their purpose is in helping people live healthier, more fulfilled lives, and if you look at it through that lens, then that'll allow you to get out of that, kind of like zoom out for a minute, and then you can still be in your passion of coaching, but be coaching coaches, be coaching your employees. Right. It doesn't mean that you're not a coach anymore. It just means that you have to become a higher order of thinking coach. You have to be somebody who is able to zoom out. That's to me, that's the next level. If you want to be a next level coach, that was something that I had that was a block that I had. I was like, next level coach means you're taking athletes to the games. No. Being a next level coach is being able to coach coaches who are then helping many, many athletes. That's the next level if that's what you're looking for.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. So I had this conversation with one of my coaches who's also is the only athlete that I work with, period, now. So I have a couple personal training clients, but he's my only athlete. And I told him, I said, look, I will take you on, but you are the only athlete that I'm taking on. Because he knows that my heart is with the business. And that is, I don't want to take anything away from him. And at any point in time that he starts needing more from me than what I'm able to give him, then he has my full blessing to go and to get a coach to go to the next level. Because ultimately he wants to go to regionals, and I will give him everything that I have to be able to help him get there. But at any point in time that we both agree that I'm not able to help him out with that, then he's free to go get another coach. And it's not like I own him. And some coaches would get butthurt about that and be like, oh, I got to keep him close. I got to keep that. No, it's larger than that. I'm responsible for far more people than just one individual. And the games athletes, like, how much do they pay a coach, right?
Nothing. I don't know.
Some, right?
Some are paying nothing. Some are paying 1,000. Who knows?
So, I mean, but I see it a lot larger than that. Like, it's the people inside of this gym. It's not just the glory athlete. The glory athletes are what we see on TV and the regionals and games athletes and Instagram. But it's bigger than that. It's the people that keep the lights on in here. Mm. Those are the people that truly matter, because those people have a larger reach. Yeah. Because there's more of them.
Yeah. Let's take a break real quick. When we come back, I want to dig into community with you.
Sure.
My name is Eric. I'm the owner of CrossFit Encino. I decided to attend the first mastermind. This is my second, on a whim, after participating in Barbell Logic for some time. And it turned out to be one of the best personal, self-development experiences I've ever had. So the first mastermind was a lot of personal development for me, and really taught me that my growth is only capped by myself. And then this second mastermind, I came away with a bunch of tactical, applicable knowledge on changes I can make to my business to allow me to continue to expand my potential. Well, a lot of what I got this time was tactical, so I have very specific action items and takeaways that I can use, and I plan to go back and turn my gym into the vision that I have for it, or continue carrying out that vision I have for my gym, and then hopefully doing something broader in the near future. If you're considering or have considered a mastermind and are unsure if it's about price or time or being away, it's real simple. If you're concerned about being away, this is one of the best ways to force yourself to get away and get out a tremendous amount of value. If you're concerned about the money, you got to unlock your potential somehow. More money only comes when you're willing to invest in yourself, and you're going to be your biggest limiting factor, and I learned that personally, and cannot stress more how much value you'll get out, that the money will seem inconsequential.
They're on the way down.
Yeah, they're on the way out, yeah.
Sorry.
Bloodsoe pants are coming in.
Lulu is
nice.
Fucking crushing.
You're sending me a pair, right?
This guy's got a real beat on the market.
Can't wait.
Sure.
They're just space tights.
Actually, they look like, it kind of look like that.
Oh, zebra.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
no, you
boy.
get those at Ross.
No, these are MeUndies.
Oh.
Have your balls ever been in heaven?
Yes.
Yes, back in college. There was a few times.
All right, we're back. We're talking to Drew. We should keep that in. Yeah, I want to dig into community. We were talking earlier about community, and we've mentioned this on the show a couple times. Is CrossFit gyms, when we talked to them in the past, a lot of times, I think they stopped saying this now that it's been mentioned on the show.
No, they haven't.
No, they haven't? Oh, they're still saying it. I'm just out of touch.
So what's your unique selling proposition? Coaching and community.
Coaching and community.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Go down one block and talk to the other gym. What are they going to say? Coaching and community. So, in regard to community, what do you do? And I think a lot of times people make the assumption that, we have community because everyone comes and works out together. Maybe we barbecue every once in a while. Are there intentional things that you do to create community?
Yeah, so at the start of our 101s, which are our beginner classes, we bring 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in together, and then our 101 class comes in, and we will make a big old circle, and you'll have 30, 40 people in a room, and then we'll do an icebreaker, and people give their names and a fun fact, right? Or whatever the icebreaker ends up being. And it takes up about 15 minutes of the class, but what it does is that people actually get to know somebody for a specific instance or a reason or whatever, and their name, and now next thing you know, they're like, oh, me too. And now you start having people talking to those people the next time that they come in. And it's a simple icebreaker, but it brings people in, and people are joking. And it's, if they're new into a CrossFit gym, and it's already intimidating because of a barbell, right? It's intimidating because of just the space, and you got people with their shirts off and short booty shorts, and it's just
Booty shorts are so intimidating to
I
me.
hate them.
Yeah.
They're the worst.
I usually walk out.
Depends
of the
who's
gym.
wearing them, I suppose.
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys have never complained before.
So, but that ends up helping us a lot, and so that is that's something that we do, and and other times we even do it on, on a Saturday if we have people coming in, they drop in, and we have extra people, we'll still do that. It's really important that people just aren't the stranger in our gym, and that's and it's not just about having the barbecues and the thing, and we do those things. It's not like we don't.
Yeah.
But then our people end up being, we have, our Facebook page, which is a, private Facebook page, and that just gets rampant throughout the day. And if you're not doing that, that's a really, really simple tactic to do to get your community to interact, because that's where they interact all day anyway, is on social media. So why not have a private page and where people are doing, where they live life supposedly online, and then they come into the gym and they're talking about that, and that's what happens to our gym. So, and then people also come in and you'll see them, so a class will be going on, and then you'll see like the groups of people just sitting and spending time together, catching up and foam rolling, and it's not like you have the elite athletes and then the beginners. It's everybody is mixing and matching together. And that's something that even our coaches take great pride in. Even in our warm-ups, we'll partner up and pair people off and send them out on their warm-up together, and they have to get to know that person while they're out on a 200-meter run.
Though I find that the gyms who actually have systemized the social integration for new members and just constantly working at making sure people are connecting and making new connections or making new friendships, and little things like the warm-up and the circle exercise you're talking about, those are the gyms that, that's why their Facebook group is thriving like it is. Because sometimes you'll hear someone's like, I did the Facebook group thing, nobody ever posts anything. It's because you have no culture. You don't have that sense of connection within your culture.
Well,
first of all,
there's no one leading the culture.
right.
It's thinking of it as a tactic versus just something that is part of what's happening as a whole.
Yeah, it's taking a systemized approach to it and being like, okay, look, I know that this is important. This is what everyone is talking about. So how can I make sure it's not just doing okay, but it's doing really well? Because the personal connection piece is the part that's going to keep people here long term. They have several gyms that we work with where, they're like, dude, we have gyms or athletes who literally say, I might not even want to train here anymore. I'm willing to pay for a membership just so I can be a part of the private Facebook group and be a part of the social events and be included. That's how strong they've made the community sense. And if you ask the owner, how did you do that? Or, how did that happen? They're like, oh, that's because we do this, we do this, we do this, we do this. When you're doing a social event in the barbecue, right? You don't just throw the barbecue. You say, okay, great. We're going to do a little icebreaker game. We're going to do a little thing. We're going to pair people up, and okay, you guys are going to go do this and learn something interesting about this person, or whatever those little exercises are. They go so far. They are the primary thing to focus on. And we made a huge shift in our gym when we actually started implementing that into our warm-up strategies, into our onboarding, and making sure that people are connecting and coaches are sharking the room before and connecting people. Or we would always play with little tactics and little things that you see what really works for your style and what worked better or worse, and it just makes all the difference. And that's you can actually turn it into a thing now versus it just being something where you're like, I think it's happening.
Yeah.
Or I hope it's happening.
At our masterminds and our workshops, a lot of time, we know in this setting, the people that are there for 2 days, they don't all know each other. And so we really go out of our way to say, okay, we're going to take a quick break, but before we do, grab a partner, introduce yourself to someone that you don't know very well, tell them your number one business goal for this quarter, or what your number one fitness goal is right now, or whatever. Just throw them a random question just to get them to talk for 1 minute apiece, and then we can take our break, and we do it multiple times a day. In a class setting, you could do that even with your 5 and 6 o'clock classes where maybe half the group already know each other for pretty well. They know each other for years, but still there's gonna be one or two new people, and so asking them to introduce themselves to someone that they don't know very well, and then share a fun fact. 15 minutes is a long time, but it doesn't have to be 15 minutes. If you're pressed for time, you could do 30 seconds a piece, and then you just jump right into class. And systematically doing that at the beginning of every class gets everyone to kind of share something unique, to be sure, but then also something as simple as okay, now I know your name is Marcus. Now we're buddies. If you're just, hey dude, forever, you're not friends until we know each other's names. Once you know somebody's first name, then you can be friends. If you don't know their name, doesn't matter how many times you've talked, you're not buddies.
Right.
Was it there was Doug, I remember hearing you, I don't know if you were quoting somebody else, but you said you're not really friends with somebody until you've hung out in 3 different environments.
Yeah, I'm not sure where I got that originally, but
I find it to be
very,
very
very
accurate.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have a gym buddy, you only see him in the gym, you're not really buddies yet. If you see him at breakfast and then you see him in the gym, and then you take a group of you and you go to the movies, or you invite somebody over for a barbecue at your house or something like that. Now all of a sudden, okay, the friendship has really started. Until then, you're just gym acquaintances, even if you like each other.
Might be good to do things off-site. Create a few different things to meet at outside of the gym.
I think it's a very good idea. Yeah. Yeah, do you guys do things like that? Do you put on social events? You go bowling, you go do barbecues, you go to the movies together? Do people organize these things kind of sporadically for your gym?
Our members actually end up going and doing that. So it's turned into that organic thing where people just start hanging out together naturally, right? And
totally.
Next thing you know, you've got 12, 14 people all hanging out together. It's I think Angelo was talking about that at his gym. It's next thing you know, somebody's got a garage gym, and then you're like, "Well, dude, can we come work out?" Yeah, that just happens naturally because they all become friends, and because they have other things that are just more than the gym that ties them together now. And that ends up being a lot more impactful.
Yeah, you're doing something right when you find out that there's a whole clique of members that on every Tuesday is going for Tuesday active coffee. We had a little coffee shop around the corner, and there was a whole thing that happened where they were going and they every Tuesday for the next year we're gonna go and do this, and this group would just get together. And you're like, that's so awesome. These people only met through here, and it just kept growing and growing and turning into other things and other events, and it's a beautiful thing.
I don't have any more questions right now. I'm gonna think of one.
Doug gets a pass because he's on drugs.
I am.
He had surgery yesterday.
I'm on the Vicodin.
Yeah, surgery yesterday. Podcasting today. He's a trooper. Proud of you.
I don't know how you're doing.
2 shows tomorrow.
I don't know how
My
you
hand
do
actually hurts like hell. It's hard to focus.
Which is why his hand's propped up. I thought he had a question, but
Doug, go ahead.
I never tap at jiu-jitsu ever for any reason. If you do jiu-jitsu, keep that in mind. Never tap.
Snap
Don't
my
If
thumb.
you tap your pussy. No, you should tap. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Never tap for any reason unless it hurts. Then you tap.
Yeah. What do you want to say to any gym owners who may feel like they're struggling? They don't know what to do next. They may be feeling confused, frustrated, or worn out.
I think that you need to first look at yourself. You need to start working on who you are and the things. I believe in therapy. I believe in coaching. Finding somebody else to work with that could actually pull some things out of you to realize either, hey, maybe you weren't cut out to do this, and that's okay. Just becoming honest with yourself in the process, and maybe you just really liked CrossFit, but being a coach and a business owner wasn't something that you were like, oh, this is a bit off more than I could chew. And I think that you've seen some of that in CrossFit the last few years as people are falling away, and it's okay, I think, to actually say, I'm going to step away. That's okay. The other thing is that go out and get help and go to a workshop. For me, it was something that I was really excited because I purchased the Logic platform and it came with it, and I got to go and learn from you guys, and now you're here. So, for me, it paid me back even more than what I paid into, obviously, because we ended up getting 75 members from it. So, that ended up helping in different ways, and then I learned more about myself and the things that I'm really passionate about. And you just don't know unless you explore those things. So go down that rabbit hole and ask yourself some hard questions and get into a community that those people can be honest with you. Because that's the one thing that my wife will tell me. She's like, you've bitten off more than you can chew. And you need somebody like that in your life, whether that's a coach or a spouse or a partner or whoever it is. You need somebody to actually speak into your life because you are speaking into so many other people's lives on a daily basis. I look at it as like a cup. So if your cup is constantly pouring into other people's cup, eventually that thing is going to become dry, and that well's gonna dry up. So you need somebody else pouring back into you so that you're able to always continue to stay, having something in that cup.
Yeah. One of the things I'm most excited about with your story is it sounds like to me that your quality of life improved dramatically and you're serving more people simultaneously. And I think that a lot of people think that those two things can't happen at the same time. And I think that they're both like one serves the other.
Mhm.
They almost have to happen at the same time.
Yeah, and I'm, if you think, well, you're just gym owner, you don't. I have a family. I have 2 young kids. They're 4 and 2. They're incredibly active. I'm a business owner and an entrepreneur. I'm still an athlete. I still work out. I still have my friends and all these other things, just like you and normal people. And sometimes I think when you listen to these podcasts, you go, "Oh, well, that seems like it's all really well packaged." No, I'm just as normal as everybody else. Like, there's nothing really that special about me. It's just that I actually am doing things that make me come fully alive. And that's what we need more of. We need people that actually come fully alive by doing things that they're passionate about. I'm very passionate about fitness. I am passionate about CrossFit. I'm passionate about my community and my family. And so those things, I get to do all those things on a daily basis.
Awesome.
Beautiful, man.
Where can people find you if they want to follow you, check you out, or if they live in the Pasadena area? What should they do?
So if you live in Pasadena or the surrounding areas, we're just off the 210, and you can find me on social media platforms as just my name, Drew Girton. It's Girton, and that's where you can find me. I'm on Twitter. I don't post much there. Instagram and Facebook, I do a little bit more of. And Instagram, you'll see my lifts and my kids and my family, and then obviously the gym, CrossFit Pendulum. Find us on every single platform there is for social media.
And for those of you who like a really good-looking gym, if you're not in the Pasadena area and you can't come by and personally check this thing out, check it out on his website, on the Pendulum website. I think there's some cool videos and pictures kind of showcasing the facility. I'm a total design geek when it comes to how gyms are laid out and how they look and how they aesthetically kind of came together. And we're cut from the same cloth, man. This place is beautiful.
Thank you.
Great job.
This is
You've got great videos on
CrossFitPendulum.com.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
See
up.
you again soon.
All right, see you.